one camera. We're gonna let folks kind of stream in, and I'm gonna get on YouTube to see what it looks like on that side before we get in there cooking. So if you have any screens or anything like that open on your backside, you'll want to close them. Obviously, just like on Google Hangout, you know, it'll do double back. All right. Why me? Why men need life coaching with C Boogie? Is it C Boogie or is it C Boogie Productions? Okay. Okay. I'll put C Boogie Productions so they can find your shit. All right, right now we got nobody in there because just like I expected with YouTube, they don't tend to send out notifications. Notifications get sent out to about 10% of your active subscriber base. So if you have 1,000 subscribers, right? But if you have 100 people who consistently watch your videos, you only get notifications sent out to 10 people. So that's why a lot of folks end up thinking, man, YouTube is fucking with me, man, and the notifications ain't working. No, it's just they're restricting the amount of pushes they do because honestly, some people just drop a shitload of content. And I don't know about you, but I even turned off some of my favorite content creators' notifications because they just do too much. What's going on? Frontline Barbers in the house. Travern Hawkins in the house. 11 people watching. Shout out to the CIA. Guys, give me the big hot fire in the hands. The high five or the hot fire when you come in. We got none other than Baltimore's own C Boogie Productions. What's going on? What's going on? What is going on? Guys, it is Tuesday, dude. You know what happens when you get so damn busy? I forgot today was even Tuesday. Have you voted? If you didn't vote, get out there and vote. Even if you are living in a deep red state or a deep blue state, you can't bitch and moan if you don't show up. What's going on, Jerry Crispin? What's going on, Kevin Earl? Jeff in the house. Fitzroy, what's going on? C Boogie, shout out people. Let them know who you are and what's up with you. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hold on. They're saying they can't hear you. Let me make sure I got you on. I got you guys. They say they can't hear C Boogie. Let me check. This is one of the things I say, you're building an airplane while you're flying it, so preferences. Test speaker. So, C Boogie, speak again. They can only hear me. So, speak up again. Start again. Let's see if you can hear you.
Testing. Can anybody hear me?
All right. There's a delay on YouTube side, so let me see. Let me make sure I got you on. I got you guys. They say they can't hear C Boogie. So go. Hold on. One of the things I say, you're building an airplane while you're flying. Test speaker. So, C Boogie, speak again. They can only hear me. So, speak up again. Start again. Let's see if you can hear you. Okay, they said it's a little. Okay, they said it's a little bit better. So let me increase the output. He's low.
Okay.
So go again. So go again, C Boogie, and do the testing.
Okay.
Testing.
Can you guys hear me in the chat room? Testing.
C Boogie, speak again. Okay, guys, there's a 30-second delay. Hold on. Start again. Let's see if you can hear you. Okay, they said it's a little. Okay, they said it's a little bit better. So let me increase the output. All right, let me do this. You know what? we can shut this down. Wait, hold on. We can either shut this down and start via Google Hangout, or let me see. Let me try this before we start via Google Hangout. Zoom audio. Damn. You know what, guys? They can hear me, but they can. Can you guys hear C Boogie? Let's see. Start.
Testing, testing. Can anybody hear me? Can you guys hear me loud? Am I good?
All right, guys. I think they're saying they can hear you. So cool. Let me make sure. Let me go. Let me get on YouTube.
Okay.
Um, want to make sure there's no double back.
Hmm.
Cool. Cool. They got you. They got me. All right. So start over, C Boogie. Let them know who you are and what you're about.
Okay. First, I just want to salute everybody that's watching, everybody that's in the chat room. I go by the YouTube handle C Boogie Productions. That's my channel name. The name is C Boogie. And basically, what I do, man, I love to give motivation. I've been through a lot of things in my life. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, and basically, what my channel is about is I talk about the matriarchy. As far as what black men, especially young black boys, have to go through growing up around a lot of women, and you don't have enough masculine energy around you. It can really stunt your growth in some areas of your life. You know, um, can really mess up your confidence, your self-esteem, you know. So basically, I'm not just talking about black women on my channel as if I'm in a relationship with them. I'm talking about the whole matriarchy, the dynamics of women constantly beating you down in your family, and how we can overcome these things. I have overcame these things in my life. Just really quick, you guys can hear me better now. I joined the army when I was 17 years old. See, a lot of people think you have to be 18, but you can join at 17 with a judge's permission. And this was the first time in my life that I was around male energy 24/7. So I started to see life a little bit more different, man. Like, you know what I'm saying, Kevin? Things became crystal clear to me. I started to see black men in charge. I started to see black men calling shots and strong black men around me all day. So, I went from a skinny little kid from Baltimore, Maryland with low self-esteem, very low self-confidence. So once I joined the military, man, it turned me into a man, and so I know what the matriarchy can really do to a young black man's growth. I also worked in juvenile detention centers and everything. So I've studied this a lot throughout my personal life and professional life. I have my degree in criminal justice. So there is a there when it comes to black men. Our issues are a little bit different than other men's of other communities.
Well, there you go, folks. And now, guys, like I tell you, we are building the airplane while we're flying it. Um, as an aside, for anybody who's thinking starting a YouTube channel is easy, right? There's a lot of shit behind the scenes. Appreciate that, C Boogie. And here's the thing, guys. There's what I'm trying to do on this channel is bring more like-minded men, black men, out and have our stories told. I'm tired of talking about the lack of need for black male media, for male media. Like I said, we have to do it. We have to create it, and can't just be my voice and just the people you guys normally tune into. So when I saw C Boogie start a channel and start dropping videos, I'm like, all right, he's taking up the banner. And instead of having him try to fight through the algorithm in 2018, which is a bitch, it's incumbent upon somebody like myself with 20 plus thousand subscribers to shine some light onto a man who's out here trying to have his voice heard and his story told. So he didn't reach out to me, I reached out to him, and that's how it needs to happen. Typically we are used to when people are, starting out saying, reaching out. No, no. You always want to reach back too. You want to reach back to see how you can help somebody. See, Boogie made a video talking about the importance of actually getting life coaching for men. I want you to speak to that a little bit before we kind of get into it. Why do you think life coaching is so important for men, for black men?
Okay, yeah. So Kevin, life coaching is very important for black men because a lot of our issues we don't necessarily know that we have as black men, and I'll explain why. It might have been, let me see, maybe 2010 when I got back from Iraq the second time, and my unit in the army, they actually made me go to a professional therapist. Before that, I never believed in therapy. I thought it was a waste of time. Thought it was a waste of money and resources because I was ignorant about it. But they actually literally put me in a car and took me, because I was having some real heavy issues. And my first initial session with the professional counselor and psychologist, it was a white guy. I remember it like it was yesterday. And I didn't think he was going to be able to relate nothing in my life. He started with my childhood, right? Like we didn't talk about the war in Iraq. He started with my childhood. And Kevin, within 10 minutes, I was bawling, crying.
Right, right.
Because I didn't realize I had so many deep-rooted and deep-seated issues um, from my childhood, from the childhood trauma that I've been through.
Right.
So when I made my video telling black men, get a life coach, not a dating coach, a lot of black men don't really understand that we have a lot of issues coming from the matriarchy, and that's growing up around communities full of black women and not a lot of male energy. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say start there. Like I know a lot of dating coaches deal with a lot of personal growth and things like that. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's cool. But I knew what professional therapy did for me. And as I started getting better, I started to get mentors in my life, and I had
Mm-hmm.
strong black men come into my life to guide me certain places. So I called those guys my life coaches.
Right. And I would say this, guys, is if you watch my channel, I am big on getting as much therapy or help as you can. I have never shied away, from this subject on my channel. I want you to get as much counseling. You work for a company right now, they have an employee assistance line, use that mother. You got your medical benefits, use it. Even if you feel like you are 100% squared away in life, you still need coaches to help you get to the next level. I have always been an advocate for this. Even before the internet, I have gone to a psychologist. I've gone to psychiatrists. I've actually worked in the singles ministry in church. I've worked with alcoholics and drug addicts as a counselor. I counsel as much as I get counseling. And I'm going to tell you this, the guys who are the performers, the winners consistently have one thing that most of us don't. They have mentors, coaches, and consultants around them. Black men are used to doing so many things on our own. We become an army of one, and your system will break. You may not break until you're 30, or some people break earlier, some people break later. Even for the handful that don't break, you still don't maximize who you are. So that's why when I saw the brother made that video, I was like, okay, this is something we need to talk about. I'm gonna just say it. Like he said, in the black community in particular, descendants of slaves, look, guys, we have a unique experience in this world. And you ain't got nothing coming as a black man that you don't create yourself. And clearing out the clutter in your life is so invaluable. Brother just said that inside of 10 minutes of looking at dude crossways, having to be taken in the goddamn car, inside of 10 minutes, he was crying. This is a brother from Baltimore, crying inside 10 minutes. You ain't that hard either. So if you're watching and you hear what I'm saying, don't get confused with the suit and the cologne and the perfume and the bags and think, oh, that's that pretty nigga over there. No, you too. You too. You need it also. See, Boogie, go ahead.
Yeah. So one of the things that I definitely noticed when I was working for the Department of Juvenile Justice, Kevin, this was the nail in the coffin for me that as black men, we really need help. I watch how these mothers would treat their sons. Um, on visitation day, when I was a guard, I would just stand there and watch how these mothers would interact with their little boys. And a lot of times, Kevin, they would be staring me in my face instead of getting eye contact with my son.
Right.
That bothered me, man.
Right.
That bothered me, Kevin. And the whole time I'm just taking mental notes, like, okay. And a
Trying to
lot of
get
these
that
young
sugar dick.
boys, excuse,
Trying to get that dick. That's what they was trying to do.
yeah, they was in that scheming, Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
And but like I said, that bothered me. And a lot of those young boys, they didn't know how to respond to a masculine man.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed through my own eyes, they only responded to the strong so-called female prison guards, kind of like the Medea kind of figure. But
Oh,
when it came to me, no, go ahead, Kevin.
I was making a note here. I am rewatching The Wire series start to finish for the sixth time. And what stands out the most to me is in season 4, where they're in the school
Mm-hmm.
and how all the black kids are wilding out in school, right?
Yeah.
Presbalewski can't get a hold of him. Bunny Coleman can't get a hold of him. They just bugging, right? Chick get a girl $1.50 in the classroom. But soon as the black woman or a woman walks in, they shut the fuck up and sit down. I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, you got a white man who's a cop, a black man who's going to be a major, and they can't get a hold of these kids. But a woman comes in, a woman or a black woman, particularly as black women come in and
Particularly
just like
that
that,
one.
and they just eat. And then I think of Naaman. What's the old boy's name? He went to jail. The shooter. Ah, shit. Naaman's his son. Naaman wasn't as hard as his dad. But his mama put him out there on the corner and said, "You gonna go out there and be a soldier like your daddy." And it
Mm-hmm.
took his daddy from the prison to check his woman and say, "No, you gonna let that boy go." Best thing he
Yeah, I know
did.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and what's old dude's name?
Are you talking about Avon Barksdale's nephew?
I'm,
I forgot his name.
I'm not
Forgot
talking.
his.
I'm talking about Avon Barksdale. I'm talking about the soldier that went to jail. Shit.
That was his nephew, though. That was his nephew that went to jail.
That's
And they killed him in jail, right?
no. You're talking about D'Angelo. I'm talking
Oh,
about
okay.
there's Avon, there's Stringer, and then there's the dude that went to jail. Whatever. Naaman was the dude with the hair that was pulled back in the puff with the
Oh, he said Weebay. Weebay.
Weebay's son.
Okay.
Weebay knew his son wasn't no soldier. He knew his son heart pump Kool-Aid. He wasn't meant for the streets. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
thing. We got two sides of black men, and what I'm seeing is his mother didn't care. She wanted him out there making that money to take care of her lifestyle. I'm gonna tell you something. I've started doing more life coaching with men in addition to image coaching. I stay in my lane, but I made that video 30 under 30 living at home with your mother. I'm seeing more black men come to talk about these issues because honestly, the first person if you're ever gonna have successful women, you got to learn how to check your mother and learn that you will put in an untenable situation. You couldn't defend against the matriarchy when you were a boy. So if you're out
Mm-hmm.
here simping and you ain't as hard or you ain't as alpha or as select as you like other guys should be, that ain't a lot of dudes' fault. What I'm trying to do is get guys to understand that you need help and it's all right. It don't make you less than a man to say, "God damn, I'm not living this. This don't make sense." So when you start talking about the mothers looking you in your face, it reminded me of when I was a mentor at church, and I would go mentor these boys, and all their mothers were trying to get this dick, and I'm like, "Are you serious?"
Yeah. Yeah, Kevin, it's real, man. But like I said, working at the Department of Juvenile Justice, that really opened up my eyes and being around these black boys. And don't get me wrong, there were white kids that came in too, but their
Mm,
interactions for the most part with their family was different,
right.
bottom line. And so A lot of black men's issues are exclusive, and that is because of the matriarchy. And on my page, that's like my signature series is I call it the matriarchal psychosis that a lot of black men are in. They kind of, it really turns you into a simp. Bottom
Right.
line,
Right.
no other way to put it. It turns you into a simp. You running
Great
behind these
topic.
women all
A lot of
day. You
brothers out
scared to
here are
check
suffering
women.
and don't even
You
know
know,
it.
you got to tap dance every time you're around women. You feel you put on this earth to serve their purpose instead of fulfilling your own prophecy. And I have a big, big problem with that because as black men, I feel we're not reaching out for potential because of the psychosis. I
Right.
really honestly believe that.
Right. And one of the videos I have that I'm going to be creating is talking about just that. How a lot of guys, we have a, Cerulean always talks about the United States of America as a narcissist manufacturing machine. Well, the black community is a simp manufacturing machine.
Mm-hmm.
You're manufactured to be a simp. And honestly, it is so wonder I am not king, simp, or gay with the way I was raised. At around 10 years old, I knew there was something really wrong with the way I was being raised. And I could go back over things that happened in my life that to where the women would just get in with their sons and they made them these, I hate to use the term beta males, but they made their boys
Yeah.
weak. And a
Yeah.
lot of these dudes are weak, and I was one of them. From simp to pimp, that was it. From how you go from pimping to simping,
Mm-hmm.
because I went through a phase where in my early late teens, early 20s, I was hard on the bitches. I was alpha male, red pill, breaking them off, the most successful I ever had. The next thing I hit this simp wall, but it was like my programming kicked in again.
You're
And
right.
I was like, wait a minute. I was manufactured to be a simp, but I kind of woke up for a minute. See,
Mm.
and I had that luxury because I was more of a select man. How about the
Mm-hmm.
guys who are not as select? How about the guys who don't experience as much as I have? They've never had their waking up moment. That's what this kind of content is there for them to have
Mm.
like a lifeline for these dudes to realize we get where you coming from, but the help is out there, but you got to realize you need it. Life coaching, in my opinion, is not a a luxury. It is a necessity, in my
Mm.
opinion, for black men. What do you think about that?
I wholeheartedly agree, Kevin. I think a lot of black men, especially if you grew up in a certain environment, I definitely think it's a necessity, bro. And you know, like a lot of times as black men, we are taught to suppress our feelings.
Mm-hmm.
The world really looks at us as if we don't have feelings, to
Right.
be honest. You know, and it's not cool when we want to talk about certain things. But in my channel, Kevin, I gave people my life, the good, the bad. I talked about the verbal abuse that I experienced growing up, the
Mm-hmm.
psychological abuse, the emotional abuse, and I put my life out there for brothers that can relate. And Kevin, the amount of emails that I received was really humbling, right?
I know, right?
And I said, okay, it's something here. So when I speak on my channel, I speak from a place of experience and also I speak from a place of authority because a lot of men don't want to tell these stories, but I want to create an atmosphere where black men can really sit around and get this weight off our shoulders, man, because it's a lot of weight to carry around. It's too much. It's too much, man.
Let me tell you something, man. When I went into my first real intensive counseling, as verbally adept as I am, as intelligent as I am, as high IQ as I am, my counselor asked me a question: "How are you feeling?" And I started out this word salad, and it took me 20 minutes before I could even get to a feeling. He had to. I bullshit you not. For the 90 people watching, this man pulled out a feelings chart with the
Mm.
emojis
Yeah.
and said, "Point to the emoji where you feel."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and I had a difficult time pointing to the feeling I was having.
Right.
We spent 3 sessions peeling back the onion for me to get to where I was feeling. Y'all need to marinate on that for a minute. My chemical engineering degree, my several minors, all my white collar corporate experience, my debating knowledge, all of my highfalutin education, all the money in my wallet, all of my experiences, and I was having a took me 3 hours in a consultant with a fucking emoji chart to understand that I was annoyed.
Mm-hmm.
I was angry. I was sad. Dude, it works if you work it. And I'll tell you this, the brother just said inside of 10 minutes he was crying. What I heard was, how long was that brother carrying that around? And how was that representing itself before that person started talking to him, asking those questions?
Mm-hmm.
Speak about that.
So, so I had been carrying around that weight on my shoulders, Kevin, my whole life. So the first time I went to therapy, I probably was either 19 or 20. I believe I was 20 years old. Um, so think, for 20 years of my life, I had been carrying around this confusion, this low self-esteem, this low self-worth,
Mm-hmm.
not really knowing who I am. My emotions are scrambled, not knowing how to display certain emotions,
Right.
not knowing what certain emotions even meant. And just like I told you, man, I remember this day like it was yesterday, man. I sat down and like I guess that's why they call these people professionals,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm telling you, Kevin, within 10 minutes, man, I was this tough, rough kid from Baltimore. I thought I was hard. I'm working out every day.
Right.
Kev, man, I cried like a baby, man. I
Mm-hmm.
literally but that was my release moment.
Right.
I released it, right?
Right.
And I started really seeing life a lot better from that moment on. And I've been going to therapy since, man. For 10 years straight. And I told myself I probably would never stop going.
Yeah.
Because it has worked wonders for me. Um, I've told other brothers they should get it, and they have got it. And I've dealt with some PTSD issues
Right.
from the military too, but it started with my childhood, Kevin. We had
Mm-hmm.
to start there first. That's the first place he went. And
Mm-hmm.
I say, damn, Kevin, I'm fucked up, bro.
Yeah.
I'm fucked up, man.
Well, and the thing is, we learn how to survive as black men. But you talk about ongoing counseling. Tom Likas gets talked a lot about in red pill circles.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Likas talks about how he continues to go to counseling even after he became Tom Likas 101. See, it is a success thing. We are
Mm-hmm.
starting from behind in the relay race. But people who are already into the third leg, they are still getting it to help them excel, not just survive.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going to counseling, and we dug back, and it was scary at a certain point in time. We had to dig back to my memories, and my earliest memory was sitting at 2 years old watching my mother ride off on the back of a motorcycle with a dude away from the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Peace.
I'm I'm sitting up here telling a counselor my earliest memory, and I didn't know if I had made this shit up or not. But I went and talked to my aunt, who was like my spiritual. She was the closest person in my family to me. She's like, "How the hell did you know that?"
Right.
And I'm like, "All right." And when you dig down, you got to understand a lot of stuff you're going to find is going to be releasing. When the brother said he cried, that brother's gonna be like, "Man, I ain't gonna cry." Shit, you better learn how to cry.
Kevin, Kevin, let me tell you something, man. At that time when I said I cried like a baby, I just got finished my second tour in Iraq. I was in peak physical conditioning because I was
Mm-hmm.
working out twice a day. Um, I thought I was the toughest guy in the world, man.
Right.
So I literally was walking around, you know, 215 pounds per muscle,
Right.
but I sat down for 10 minutes and I cried like a baby.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that whole tough guy act, that's a lot of times that's just a front, Kevin.
Right.
Like you already know that. That's just a front. You know, as black men, if we don't get our
By
emotions in order,
counseling, you
if we
mean a
don't get our
life coach or
emotions in
legit
check,
therapist? What
that's
type?
going to leave us stymied
Mm-hmm.
and stuck in a spot forever, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to dictate how we deal with women as well. To
Right.
be honest, it's going to once I and here's another thing. Once I got my therapy sessions and everything together, Kevin, my dealings with women were so much easier. My pussy rate went. No, I'm serious, Kevin.
I
No,
know, right?
I'm
Kevin,
now
thanks
we
for
got to get into
everything
the
you do,
juicy part
brother.
because
Mm-hmm.
now I'm coming into my confidence. I'm
Mm-hmm.
stepping into my purpose. I'm feeling myself, Kevin,
Right.
and the women seen the confidence dripping off me. Now I'm fucking professional chicks. I'm
Right.
fucking chicks that's working out. I'm
Mm-hmm.
fucking foreign women.
Mm-hmm.
They starting to recognize the masculinity that was always there. I just didn't know how to bring it out. Come
That's it.
on, Kevin. That's why I said get a life coach, not
Right.
a date coach.
Dude, and somebody in the chat room said, when you talk about a therapist, are you saying a life coach or a real therapist? I say both.
I went to see a professional therapist.
I saw, but if you got to try to prioritize, I saw a professional therapist first because here's the thing: when I life coach with dudes, I say I
Mhm.
am here. I'm in this lane. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not qualified, nor am I going to try to diagnose schizophrenia, psychopathy, psychosis, things that need to do with medication,
Right.
sexual issues. I am coaching in this image lane, which is your behavioral communication and how you run yourself. But I will tell you this: even with six, you go see a most good consultants give you at least a free consultation. Take advantage of the free consultation and act accordingly. But
Mm-hmm.
there's right now. Let me give you this example: black men, when you go into emergency medicine, it's like triage. Triage, you try to stabilize critically wounded kind of folks to get them on to possibly have some surgery to repair. We got to stop the bleeding first. That is what a real therapist will do. Stop the major bleeding. Do you have, like me, do you have abandonment issues? Do you have acceptance and approval issues? I was taught,
Mm.
I looked at my father as being my biggest issue because I wasn't accepted. He turned his back on me. So I thought. I had approval issues with my mother because I was always trying to, going above and beyond. But I looked at my father, but I could never look at my mother issues. And it's not about a who's at fault. It was just how did this happen, putting it in its correct place, and learning how to use what had happened to me as fuel, not from a negative standpoint, from a positive. So that's what C Boogie is basically said. Once he started talking, his masculinity, all these other things start coming through. Yes, what I'm saying to you, black men, is you are walking around with a clogged injector. You are walking around with an engine that is firing on two cylinders and the other six are waiting to get actually recompressed and have you speeding down the road. But you got to get out there and actually put yourself in the position. You talk about how you are still in counseling. How many people? Let me ask you two questions. How
Mm.
many people that you've spoken to in Baltimore or your past would have told you, "Man, I ain't gonna do that shit. I don't need that
Yeah,
shit.
many people.
I ain't gonna deal with that white man. They doing all this bullshit." How much pushback did you get from people in your family or your surroundings or your friends?
Um, I would say more of some of my male friends kind of rejected it.
Uh huh.
But I understood it because,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, like when I first was presented with that, I didn't believe in it either.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got it. So yeah, I had some people that was like really on the fence about it, like, nah, I'm good. I'd rather not,
Mm-hmm.
or you tripping, bruh, that kind of thing.
Right.
And But you know what, Kevin? I told this story on like one of my videos. Growing up, I had a real bad stutter, right? It
Right.
was really bad. It's probably I had stutter and a stammer
Mm-hmm.
when I talked. So it made me a very shy kid in the first place. And I was always a big observer because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't talk a lot. So I would just observe things around me. And when I did talk, I would have to simplify everything, because you don't want to be the guy that they laughing at or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But within my own self, helping my own self get over my stutter by reading every day diligently. But
Mm-hmm.
the therapy also helped with my stutter as well because once I built confidence, the stutter actually started to go away.
There you go.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It worked wonders for me, man. I would highly recommend brothers, to either get a life coach or professional therapy, because we want to go, especially online now. When I did my video, Get a Life Coach, Not a Dating Coach, I
Mm-hmm.
was more or less talking about these fly by night online dating coaches. I
Right.
I wasn't talking about the professional guys because they mix some life coaching into it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot of fly by night guys out here that's just out here for the hustle to get the money, but they're not going to get to the root of your actual problem. So they might can get you to the point where you can approach women, but how are you going to keep that female, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of nuances that go with this, and it starts with yourself, mastering yourself. And I tell people all the time, bro, I am an expert on C Boogie because I've spent time getting to know me. So when I deal with women, I'm coming from a position of strength,
Mm-hmm.
but I had to take that time to get to know myself and get with professionals and mentors and life coaches. It took time, man. And
Right.
these fly by night dating coaches, they can probably tell you some things that get you some quick pussy or whatever, but we talking about maintaining women,
Mm-hmm.
keeping women in check,
Mental health is essential for
having women
executing your
actually
purpose. Great
respect you,
conversation.
not just fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot, because a lot of black men, let's just be honest, we just want the pussy and we'll take the disrespect. No,
Right.
not at C Boogie production. Not gonna happen.
Well, and you know one thing I would say to this, guys, also in the chat room, understand if you type in all caps, Bartissimo will time you will block your message, and if you keep getting blocked, it'll time you out. It's
Great work, fellas.
Thanks. It'll automatically. I got a bot in here to help me moderate the chat room. So just know typing in all caps is gonna just block your message. That's number one. Number two, when I told my family members I was going to get counseling, the women, my mother, my two aunts, my cousins, they all kind of they looked at it as a threat because they thought of counseling as they were going to go in and say, your family is fucked up and the reason you got this going on, they got defensive.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed, I was like, I was like, so if I was an alcoholic and said I wanted to go get, detox, you'd be all right with it. But because I said I'm having some issues with this, you are pushing back. What was I told? You are Samuels. You can handle it or pray it away. My relations with my mother and every woman in my family became markedly better after counseling because I realized.
New subscriber just wanted to show some support.
Appreciate it, Eli Holloway. I started. You can learn to detach with love. Start learning how to look at the folks in your family as just that. You don't get to choose your family, but see, my interactions are better because now I get it. I get the things that I had that I needed to work on, and I stopped looking outside of things, and I started looking to myself for solutions instead of
Wow.
instead of projecting out. See, that's what we're trying to get to, guys. C Boogie said it. He's an expert in C Boogie. Are you an expert in you? And I don't think most guys are, because you've never actually went down and even understood who are you. What are the rules of you? I ask this question often. If you were a business, what kind of business would you be and what kind of business would you be doing? Most guys are just out here, C Boogie, living life. And if you took away their job, you took away their income, the way they make their money, they'd just be lost.
Mm-hmm.
So, you mentioned the folks that, gave you pushback, but you understood.
Yeah.
How many people have you have you had anybody from that area or that part of your life actually go into counseling, get help, or let's say, hey man, no homo, really? Does this shit work? Did you get anybody that actually said they've tried it since you did?
Not in the way that you put it. I've had homeboys that got the counseling and kind of kept it to themselves.
Right,
You
right.
know, but I can see the difference in their actions. So, maybe they wasn't ready to reveal it to me,
Right.
but I can tell in their life that it has worked. So, because a lot of times we aren't vocal. But I'm gonna say this too, Kevin, because you touched on something about your family. And even the interactions with the women in my family started to become different once I started to develop myself. So now they know they got to approach me with a certain level of respect. We talking mother, sister,
That's
my
right.
grandma's died, but mother, sister, female cousins. They look at you a lot different once you start walking and really fulfilling your prophecy as a black man. And Kevin, I, all of this is facts. I'm talking about the way I dealt with women as far as relationships. I'm talking about the women in my family.
Yeah.
I've had some issues with coworkers and shit but that's going to happen, or with the black boss bitch and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it started with me. I had to get my stuff together. And once I figured out myself, how to control my emotions, how to move, how to navigate this globe, how to make the universe work for me.
Right.
Oh man, I love being me, Kevin. I love it. I love it. I love it, Kevin.
So that's right, and that's what's up, guys. So let me round this out, gentlemen. That no matter how hard you are, no matter where you are, guys, everyone can benefit from actually going to sit down with a therapist. There's only been one perfect human that we know of, and that ain't you or me. Number two, that living your best life, guys, is a function of you actually stepping into your manhood. And one of the best things therapy, life coaching does for you is you're starting to give men permission to be men. That's what I really dig about this red pill side of YouTube. Men have not, the last 30 plus years, alpha men, masculine men have been made the enemy. Anytime you look at this, gentlemen, anytime you step into owning your own manhood or masculinity, you automatically get besieged by a machine that is going to beat you down to let you know that's toxic, that's wrong. If you look at the level of attack to see how important the goal is, how you don't really bother with the small sugar ant that's walking across the goddamn floor. But if you really thought that thing was a threat, you do something about it. Your manhood is threatening. Therefore, you need to get it. Giving black men permission to step into their own manhood is critical. So let me do this, dude. Let me see if we have any questions from guys in the chat room. If you have any questions for C Boogie or myself, go ahead and put them down in the chat room. We got about another 15 minutes. I don't want to hold the brother too long. But while they're getting ready to type things, is there anything you want to talk about or discuss that I may not have covered in the questions?
Let me check, man, because we hit a lot of issues, a lot of great issues, Kevin. And I just want to say this, man. As black men, we can't be, well, I call it being too cool for school. We can't be too cool to display our emotions to each other.
Right.
Walking in the street, Kevin, and I see brothers mean mugging each other, this and that. I'm like, how many of us really see each other and smile at each other? Seriously.
Yeah.
I'm not just talking about Pookie and Ray Ray either. I'm talking about regular, everyday brothers that's out here working. How many of black men actually value one another? and stuff like that bothers me, man. You know, because I see the same black men that I see a white person and smile at them.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying, Kevin? We can't be too cool for school, man. You know, we gotta value one another. We gotta start looking at each other a lot differently, man. You know, because we are much more than just either educated lames or Pookie and Ray Ray. Nah,
Right.
man. As black men, we are so multifaceted. Don't put yourself in this box.
Mm-hmm.
You can't put C Boogie in a box because I'm into a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
I listen to all genres of music. I watch a lot of different movies, a lot of different documentaries. I love history. You know, I got a degree, but I know how it is growing up in the neighborhood as well.
Mm-hmm.
As black men, we are so much more than what they want to make
Hey
us
Kevin,
out
is
to
your
be,
late
man.
teens and
And
early
that
20s too
bothers
early
me,
for
man.
life coaching?
That
If not,
bothers
what
me.
are some of the benefits
Real
of
talk,
coaching in
man.
early
We
adulthood?
see each other in the street want to mean mug. Come on, man.
Okay, I got a couple of questions. Got a couple of
Okay.
questions come up. We just had one from David Black. Hey, Kevin, is late teens or early 20s too early in life for life coaching? Absolutely not. If not, what are some of the benefits of coaching in early adulthood? Some of the benefits of coaching in early adulthood is like anything else. You start building healthy, positive habits for the rest of your life. Also, you don't have to end up coming at it and doing reverse engineering. You don't want to end up breaking and then going and getting coaching. You don't want to end up snapping. You want to actually get ahead of it. So this just becomes a part of healthy life expression. What do you got on that, C Boogie? Is it too early? In your early teens or 20s, is it too early to start life coaching? And if not, what are some of the benefits of early adulthood coaching?
Absolutely not, Kevin. If it was up to me,
Mm-hmm.
from my experience working Department of Juvenile Justice,
Mm-hmm.
we would get kids in there as young as 7 years old, young boys that
Mm-hmm.
needed it. You know, so I don't think it's no age limits on this thing, man.
Right.
And the benefits of it is let's just say you did grow up in a female dominated family like myself.
Mm-hmm.
Being around a man, sometimes it's not even about words. Sometimes you could just watch him.
Yep.
Watch how he handles situations. Watch how he handles situations with women, with other men, business, things like that. A lot of black boys don't get this experience. You see what I'm saying? They don't get a chance to watch. I always tell this story, Kevin. I had a friend of mine. He had a strong father, strong black man, correctional officer father, big black swole dude.
Mm-hmm.
Every time we would come to his door, we knew to tighten up. We would smell the aftershave
Yeah.
from outside the door. That's when you know it's a man in the house, Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew to tighten up. So we would run around the neighborhood like knuckleheads, doing knucklehead stuff. But we knew when we got to that door, we had to get it right because he didn't have to say nothing to us. And like I say, we knew when we smelled that aftershave, it's
Right.
a man in there, man. So it's never too young, man. Life coaching, I would prefer to talk to a man,
Yeah.
but maybe feel more comfortable with a woman. But I would prefer black men to talk to a black man.
So let me answer that next question. That whole thing about having a man, being a man, around smelling a man, dude, that's an entire video. But there have been so many times I've been around black
All
women who have...
attacks on toxic masculinity are poorly disguised attacks on masculinity in general.
Yeah.
Men teach younger men how to control the destructive masculine energy and embrace constructive masculine energy.
You couldn't hear my assistant. She was reading the message. But I can't tell you how many times I've been around black women who had sons whose sons were just running around acting, like boys. And just through my presence or just saying something to the boy, tighten up. And she's like, I've never seen my son snap too like that. And I'm like, cause you're not a man. I was like, men do things with our presence, our voice, and our smell. I don't just talk about cologne for bitches. I talk about cologne for men too, because one, men smell men, and it also gives black men a chance to actually give some, hard dudes and walked up, man, I like the way you smell, no homo.
Yeah.
That was huge for that dude to actually come over because that dude see me in a suit and he probably that would have been no other way he would have felt comfortable actually saying something to me and then realize that I wasn't some condescending asshole that I like a 2-piece and fried fish just like him. The
Yeah, man.
question came up about is it better to what if he said I got a life coach. She's female. The question becomes: is it better to get a man or a woman? I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna answer it this way: in triage and crisis, any lifeboat will do.
Hmm.
In crisis, any lifeboat will do. But I think for long term, I want you to get a man. I want you to get a man long term, and I would prefer, especially for black men, to get black men because there's so few places that black men see men in place of authority. Think about it. We got 73% black men being raised by single mothers. Then they go from the house to kindergarten. Who's the teacher? Typically a woman. Elementary, typically women. Junior high, high school, typically women, to an all male world. I take you back to The Wire. I was talking about how these kids were wilding out and could not relate or deal with men, and they only snapped to with women's voices. I take you back to see Boogie, talking about how he would be in this correctional area and boys did not even know how to deal with them. We need to start reprogramming how we look at men, period, especially if you were raised by all women. There was another question I wanted to get to. Hold on, see Boogie. What is the first step I can take into my manhood? You want to take that one, and I'll follow up from there.
Yeah. Like I'm gonna answer this two ways. So one of the first things you're gonna have to do as a black man is check your mother. Um, that's real talk. I see this all too often. A lot of black mothers, they still control their sons at 30, 40 years old, sometimes even older.
Yes.
So that's one of the first things you're going to have to do. If you grow up in like a single parent household or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the second part I want to say, man, is really really spend some time with yourself. Real. I mean, I'm not talking about I'm talking about some solitude, man.
Yes.
See me, my sanctuary is the gym. That's where I get my mind right. I put on my headphones and I bang out and I get my thoughts together. If my mind is scrambled, but I would just say that, man, really spend some time with yourself, man, and be honest with yourself about your shortcomings, man.
Mm-hmm.
You can really work on those things. Like I said earlier, I had a really bad stutter. I'm talking about bad, man.
Right.
you
Right.
know, and I still stutter to this day, but you would have to really pay attention. But I had to work every day because I didn't want to stutter anymore. That was the biggest flaw that I had. But I had to be honest with myself. Like, you know what? I don't like this and I want it fixed. It was nobody else going to do it for me but me, man.
All right, guys. If you're not a patron of the channel, I'll put a link down in the channel to become a Patreon. I'm not gonna lie. As an image consultant, there's nobody else on YouTube doing what I'm doing. Most folks come on talking about cologne or clothes. I deal with the entire man. One of the first steps into manhood, I think, I'm gonna answer two ways. You got to get 100% real about who you are. You got to look yourself in the mirror and say, who am I? And why am I this way? A lot of dudes don't even like who they see in the mirror, so they avoid it. You gotta honestly, do you look at yourself in the mirror and just glance and go away?
Mm-hmm.
Looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, "Who am I?" and how did I get this place? Number two, you need to go and step into manhood. You need to look at your relationship with your father. If your father is still alive, you need to go get his side of the story. This does not mean blame your mother. But if you don't know your father or his side of the story, that is half of you that is an unsolved equation. Even if your mother never downed your father, you need to go understand it, because one day you will likely have children yourself. You don't want to wait to that point to start realizing that, you know what? Raising kids ain't easy.
Mm-hmm.
This shit is complicated. Male female interaction is complicated, and it's even more complicated today with where we're at in this gynocentric world. You need to get your dad's side of the story. That don't mean y'all got to become the best of friends, but I'm gonna tell you, getting your father's side of the story, learning to check your mother, you will finally be detaching from your mother and father, cutting that cord and stepping into your own manhood. That was huge. All right, see, Boogie, man, I appreciate you getting on. We've been on here for about an hour. People saying the gym is a perfect sanctuary. At the end of the day, guys, wherever you got to get it, you got to get it. You have to get started. Whether you call the employee assistance line at work, whether you get on Google and just say life coach, do it. I offer life coaching on for my guys also. I don't care who you pick. I just care that you pick someone and get it started. This is what I will say about life coaching versus dating coaching, all that kind of stuff. If you don't have your man shit together, any relationship you get, any situationship you get, you're not gonna be able to maintain it. You're gonna continually be trying to put water into a bucket that has a hole in it. You want to plug that hole. That hole plug is masculinity and getting on your purpose. Anything you want to say before we leave, C Boogie?
Yeah, just really quick, man. I just want to salute everybody in the chat room, everybody that's listening and watching. I want to thank you, Kevin, and I honestly believe this interview is going to shake up the internet.
There you go.
Seriously, because a lot of black men, we need to congregate like this more often.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us are carrying around this weight, and it's really holding us back for fulfilling our prophecy. And my last thing about the life coaching, you were absolutely right, Kevin. When dealing with women, one of the things that I noticed in my life, man, I've gotten pity pussy before.
Yes. Yeah.
I've gotten drunk pussy just leaving the club. Some chick want to fuck. I've got chicks that was feeling me. But once I started really getting in touch with myself and really understanding who C Boogie is, man, the pussy came with more bells and whistles. No,
right?
just give me 1 minute. Let me speak on this, man. Because a lot of guys need to hear this. The pussy came with a lot of gifts. We talking about, I would just wake up in the morning and I got a breakfast plate sitting next to me, Kevin.
That's it.
I would tell a chick to show up at my house at 8 o'clock p.m. I'm leaving the gym. I get home at 6:45. She's already parked at my house, waiting
for 8 o'clock. Shit.
Not only waiting, she got grocery bags because she want to cook for me.
That's it.
See, what I want to tell guys, and I made that video, get a life coach, not a dating coach, for this specific purpose. A lot of black men, and I hate to say it, but I got to keep it all the way 100. A lot of black men are just happy with getting sex and don't even know a lot of times it's pity pussy. Kevin, when a female is really digging your masculinity, she will, and I'm going to be blunt,
Go ahead.
The head is going to be 100 times better.
She's dripping on your leg. She's dripping on your leg while she's going down. First time you have a woman's pussy drip on your leg while she's sucking your dick, you like, God damn, she that wet? I'm
telling you, Kevin, it's you start moving different. She gets a lot more freakier and nastier for you. She's probably never going to tell you no. See, look, man, we're going to get out of here in a minute, but guys, everything that me and Kevin talked about, life coaching, really getting your mind right, getting to know yourself, the women know.
Yes.
And a lot of guys don't want to face the fact that sometimes it's not the women. Sometimes it's you, bruh.
Yeah.
You're not walking in your purpose. You're not fulfilling your prophecy. She knows that you are weak.
Mm-hmm.
And when you really, I'm coming from a place of a simp. So
Mm-hmm.
I can say this with authority. I can say this with authority, Kevin. So now I don't, if I'm sleeping with a young lady, it's more than just the sex. I
Mm-hmm.
want the gifts that come, those gifts that keep on giving.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
that comes with it. I want the feet rubs. I just want my balls rubbed. I got a bald head. Rub my bald head. It comes with all of that, man.
That's
But you
it.
got to start with getting to know yourself, man. Kevin, I want to salute you, bro. Once I finally discovered your channel, man, because I thought you was just like everybody else. I thought you were talking about shoes and shirts.
Yeah.
But
Shoes and
once I got
shirts.
into the minutia, I said Kevin is changing lives, man.
Right.
Seriously, man. Kevin is talking what black men need. Our image is everything. Is everything, man. It is everything. And if you don't believe it, look at the media.
Mm-hmm.
Look how they promote Vladimir Putin. I always use this example. Vladimir Putin, when you see pictures of him, he's riding with no shirt, horseback riding.
That's right.
That's masculinity. He's going out hunting.
Mm-hmm.
That's masculinity. He's scuba diving. That's masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
Black men, what we got? Kevin Hart goofing off, Medea,
Shit like
some
that.
reality show BS. We got athletes or whatever. But look, our image is everything, man. So I want to thank you, Kevin, from my heart for what you do,
Yeah.
because you really change your lives, bro.
That's what's up. And when we say black men, our image is everything, what I need you guys to understand, we are talking about more than Kevin Hart, Medea. I'm talking about who you see in the mirror. Do you like you? Do you like your skin? Do you like your body?
Hey Kevin, what can a young man in his early teens and late
Hold on.
20s do to really get ahead in life?
Okay.
BTW loving the content.
Do you like who you see? See, the thing is, so many black men, you'll treat your car better than you treat you. You treat everything you own, possess, or you look at better than you treat you. And what we're saying is you need to get your mind right so you start valuing you so everything around you treats you better. That is the difference. You are spending life chasing, pushing, and you will deplete your tank because you're always pushing out the energy. We want you to improve your mind, yourself, to where you start increasing to where life fills you up. You're not constantly filling somebody else's tank. And that is the whole unlock in this thing. Last question came in. Kevin, what could a young man in his early 20s do? I'm sorry, somebody asked about, did we get that question already? Or is that the same question? I think David asked two questions. Let me see this. Guys, here's the thing about early life. One of the best things a young man in his early teens or 20s can do in life is you need to get around masculine men. Bullshit. No bullshit. You need to get in virtual spaces and in real spaces. You need to get around masculine men, white collar or blue collar, college educated, street educated, but men. Just by being in male spaces, you will, just like C Boogie talked about, you could smell that cologne. There is something about being around men. The energy is infectious and it will actually unlock hidden potential in you guys that, like I said, if you were raised by your single mother, you didn't have a choice. The family you were born into, you don't have any choice. You can choose your second family. Who is your second family and what does it look like? If it's only your friends from school and your neighborhood, that's still not your choice. Build your new family with men. Get a mentor. Some mentors are organic, but if I say less than 5%, you're going to have to break bread to hire a mentor. But anything where you're actually around men, whether it's a life coach, whether it's a mentor, it is a better investment in you than actually going out tricking off on these broads. Guys, appreciate you so much. Yeah, they like the English voice. That's Emma. Appreciate you guys so much. C Boogie, thank you for coming on channel, guys. Make sure you hit subscribe to see Boogie's channel. I'll put the link down there. Let's get his subscribers up. Check out his content. Hit the notification bell to be tuned in to when he drops some more content. Appreciate the moderators. Appreciate the CIA. Thank you guys so much. Till next time, we're out of here. Peace.